should be live on YouTube and Facebook. Just waiting for the Amazon connection to pull through, because last week we went straight off and the connection hadn't come in. So just waiting for that to come through.
Should I bring the books over?
Send the books over.
Should I bring the books over so I can show them, like all my books?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have
Okay,
them.
let's do that.
Yeah, go for it, Moni. There we go. See, this is the joys of live stream.
My books weigh 12.5 pounds altogether.
Wow, that is that's impressive. Right.
Okay, got them ready.
Cool. Brilliant. Okay, so let's go live on Amazon now. And we'll do the introduction. Okay, right. So now we are live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and most importantly on Amazon.com. So you can come and see us there as well, because we're picking up from where we left off last week when I was interviewing the lovely Moni, and a best-selling Amazon book author, absolute Feng Shui or Feng Shui, depending on where you live, expert. And last week we talked about all the different elements, all the different things that you can have in your house, the products that can help you get that great flow together and be tidy. But we didn't get a chance to talk about Moni's amazing books. Moni, you were just saying, how many books do you have?
I have 4 books on Feng Shui for the home that are manuals. And the book Room by Room, which was an Amazon bestseller, which is an emotional book that tells the stories of families and their homes. And I have also written 3 books on Feng Shui for business. And I have co-authored books on Feng Shui cures. Feng Shui cures are enhancements to help you set your intent for things that you want to happen in your life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So pray tell, which one should we investigate? I like that last one. So that's a totally unique way of, I'd not heard of that way of using Feng Shui, because I always think about it as just the physical.
Oh yes, but so the home is where you live, right? It's the body of your life, so to speak. And so the things that you do in your home affect how you perceive the world. And the home is constantly giving you feedback. And it is up to you whether that feedback is positive or is negative. So, for example, if you open the door to your house and what you see is not pretty, it's unorganized, it's dirty, the impression that you give to yourself, your home is telling you, you are a slob, you're unorganized, you are dirty, you are good for nothing, right? Because we all have these critical voices in our minds, that are negative voices that maybe come from the way we were raised. It may have come from parents, other caretakers, or from teachers, or from other kids who can be really cruel, right? And so the worst thing you can do as an adult is have your home tell you bad things. And there's a Chinese saying that goes like this: all the things in your home are talking to you. Make sure they have nice things to say. And so that the feedback the home is giving you constantly, that's something that you can control. And so when you come home and you open the door, you should see something beautiful that tells you you are doing well, you are organized, you know what you're doing, right? And so the home with good feng shui is like having a parent that is constantly supporting you in your growth and encouraging you to follow your dreams. And a home with bad feng shui, which a home with no feng shui is usually a home with bad feng shui, is a home that is telling you that you are not worth it, that you are not good, and that you're not ever going to amount to anything. So your home is constantly telling you things, and you have the ability to choose what your home tells you.
Oh, I love that. When you just explain it like that, I can totally see how important that is. You go out, you get on with your day-to-day life, and if you come home and your home is telling you you're amazing, you're so organized, you've got lovely personality and gorgeous things,
great taste, you are worthy of comfort. So just to give you a little example, making the bed. right? You ask people, do you make the bed every day? And a lot of people in the United States tell you no, they don't make the bed every day. They make the bed only when they change the sheets. And unfortunately, it has come to that. And other people say, 2 times, maybe 3 times a week. But the truth is, everybody makes the bed, right? Before you get to bed at night, you have to straighten the bed, right? You just have to. And so if you did that same straightening in the morning, like you get up, you straighten the bed, the whole day, the bedroom is giving you feedback that you're an organized person, that you are not sloppy. But if you wait to do that at night, right before you get into bed, the whole day your bedroom has told you that you can't even keep a bedroom organized, right? And so those messages that we're receiving can have a different substance, but it is also important for how long are they speaking, right? An unmade bed all day long is telling you for 12 hours that you can't even manage a bedroom. A bed that is made in the morning is telling you all day long that you are on top of things. And so that's one thing. Another thing that I thought of as you were speaking before is chairs. Chairs in Feng Shui symbolize how a person treats themselves. And I want to tell you a story. One time when my kids were little, I have 2 boys. When they were little, we were invited to dinner at the home of somebody who's a really, really good cook. And she and her husband, they owned the business, and they had just sold the business, and they were retired. And they had a beautiful, large home, very expensive. And as we left, one of our sons said, he said, "Mama, the people who just invited us to dinner, do they have a lot of money?" And I said, yes, yes, they do have a lot of money. And he says, "Oh, I thought so. I thought so." So I'm wondering, if they have so much money, why don't get chairs that are actually comfortable? Right? They had dinner in this beautiful dining room with these wooden chairs that were actually carved, but they were uncomfortable. If you try to lean on the chairs, they were tough on your back, right? So a chair tells the story of how you treat yourself. A chair that is comfortable, that makes you feel good, that helps you keep good posture, that chair is saying you know how to treat yourself well. But if your chairs are uncomfortable, if they're wobbly, if there's any problem with them, you're telling yourself you don't deserve to be well treated. And so these things are super important. And so everything in the home has a meaning. Every single item in your home has a meaning. And it is an expression of how you see life. And the decisions, the actions that you take in life, the decisions that you make and the actions that you take, they all are related to how you live your life. These days, since the movie The Secret came out, and all these law of attraction things, and how you're going to manifest your reality, those have a place in the world, right? But things are not going to happen magically. Your thoughts, your emotions, they have to lead to actions. And in Feng Shui and Chinese medicine, we have the concept of the right action, or called the perfect action, which is an action taken at the right time so that you can use minimum effort for maximum results.
Love it. Love it. And I tell you that the couple of things I wanted to pick up on there, the bed making. One thing in the Wood household, we do kind of fight as to who. Well, we don't fight. Basically, if I try to make the bed, Debs will then remake it because I never make it the way she absolutely loves it. But also, I remember watching quite recently, actually, on a YouTube video. This American general was talking about the importance of making your bed first thing in the day, because it sets you up for going on. And that's you've just absolutely echoed that. And the other one about the chairs. I totally resonate with that. There's nothing worse than just having sloppy chairs, and it's a nightmare. Even for like an office, people like scrimp and say, "Oh, I'll just have a normal, any old chair will do." No, you've got your posture, and that's then going to how you feel, how you will then project yourself.
Yes.
So important. And you relate it back to the Chinese, the Chinese medicine and spirituality, I guess is. But and that was what we were saying last week. So you've got one of your books is that, or your method is the 9 steps?
Let me go over the books in the order they should be read. Okay.
Oh, yes.
All right. So the first book people should read is Room by Room: Feng Shui Secrets for a Happy Life, because this book is going to tell you about the why of Feng Shui. Why should you do Feng Shui, right? So before I wrote this book, I had written all these manuals on how to do Feng Shui, but people were buying them, but they were not making the changes they needed to make because they didn't have that internal motivation. But a lot of people, after they read Room by Room: Feng Shui Secrets for a Happy Life, then they became able to really say, okay, this is important, I need to do it. So first, this book. And the second book to read is called Feng Shui Your Own Home, with a nice to Feng Shui system. And this book, in a very simplified manner, very summarized manner, it talks about the system I developed to practice Feng Shui, called the 9 Steps to Feng Shui system. You follow this system, you're going to end up with a dream home. But of course, this is a thin book. This is 130 pages. In 130 pages, you cannot express everything that needs to be done in Feng Shui. In some cases, you're going to need professional help, like hiring a Feng Shui consultant that is trained in the 9 Steps to Feng Shui system. So I created this system and I trained people to practice it. The second book would be, no, sorry, that's not the right book.
So I'm gonna pull them up on screen as you do them, hopefully.
So the second book would be Feng Shui Your Own Yard, which is the same 9 Steps to Feng Shui applied to the outside of your home, not to the inside of your home.
All right, let me just share.
Then you have Declutter Your Own Spaces. And so Declutter Your Own Spaces is a book that is going to take you to the heart of why you clutter and give you all sorts of really good ways really good techniques to overcome your desire to clutter, because clutter is a compensation. People who clutter a lot is because they're not wanting to confront certain things. So you are showing there the Feng Shui Your Own Yard, right?
Yeah.
There in the teal. In the teal, you have Declutter Your Own Spaces.
That's the one. There we go.
Declutter Your Own Spaces, which is a book that is going to help you organize your home. And I also have classes on how to declutter. The next book would be Feng Shui Your Own Life Areas. And this is a book that is going to teach you what to do in every room. So room by room, the things that you can do for your home. And so all these are manuals, right? They come with lots of pictures and illustrations, that are going to teach you exactly what to do.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of books that I have written, right? So those are the Feng Shui books for the home. And I have put them together in the Feng Shui for the Home Encyclopedia. So you have Feng Shui Your Own Home, Feng Shui Your Own Yard, Declutter Your Own Spaces, and Feng Shui Your Own Life Areas. And those, the encyclopedia puts them all together and in the order that they should be written, right? So you can read all these books, there's a lot of people who just want to learn for themselves, right?
I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah. Am I speaking too fast?
No, you're good. You're good. Exactly.
And so, of course, then I also have 3 books on Feng Shui for Business, and I have put them together in the Feng Shui for Business Encyclopedia, right? And these are the books that I was telling you with Feng Shui cures, things that you put in your home to enhance your life areas and to help you have good intentions and manifest. And so this is a book that I did with a friend of mine who is a healer and an artist. So he makes these abstract paintings, and he encloses the paintings with healing energy, right? And so you can use these images to enhance your home. For example, let me find it here. This is for relationships, for marriage, relationships, and partnerships.
Oh, wow.
And there's one there's one for each of the life areas. This is for family, health, and community. And for wealth, we use the bamboo, which is the quintessential symbol of wealth because of how fast it grows and how it creates an environment to support many, many species.
Cool.
And so these are the books I have written, and there's another book coming up. I'm ready to publish my latest book. So this is Room by Room, and the companion book, as Room by Room is about the inside of the home. So my next book that is going to be available hopefully for pre-orders next week is going to
Oh,
be called The House of Many Gardens, Feng Shui Secrets for Home Landscaping. And
oh,
so
wow.
these two books are companions. One is about the inside of the home, and the other one about the outside of the home. And the House of Many Gardens, I wanted to write a book that was also an emotional book that told stories, because people they connect to stories so much, because that gives you the idea of what you actually need, why you need to do things, and that motivates you to do them, right? And so Room by Room, Feng Shui Secrets for a Happy Life, that was all about the inside of the home, room by room. And this book is about landscaping, landscaping for home. So it's The House of Many Gardens, Feng Shui Secrets for Home Landscaping. And it is based on the first home that I remember, which was a house that was had been the estate of I think they call them vanity farms in the United States.
Oh,
And
a vanity farm. Okay.
it is a farm that somebody gets as a hobby.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's not a farm that you get because you're going to work the land and live off the land, or sell your produce. It's a farm for people who want to go to the country and enjoy farm life, without any of the pressure.
Without the hassle
Yeah,
of the farming, yes.
yes. And so it had been, like probably in the time of my great grandmother, it had been a vanity farm, and the city had grown around it, and the house and its gardens occupied almost the whole block. And it had been designed by a really good architect, the house and the gardens, right? So the house was breathtakingly gorgeous, and the gardens were just amazing. And so I lived there from when I was 2 years old to 5 years old. And I remember so much of the house, because a lot of people don't even have any memories from before they were 5, right?
That is going back a long way, yeah. Well, for
Yeah,
me.
but I remember because it was such an amazing, the whole gardens, were just such an amazing experience for a child. So I remember the flower beds, because I remember the butterflies, and I remember um, the flowers on the side of the fence, because that's where I saw hummingbirds.
Oh,
And there's 135 species, I believe, of hummingbirds just in Ecuador, which is a country the size of the state of Colorado in the United States.
wow.
The whole United States only has 2 species of hummingbirds, but in Ecuador we have 135 species of hummingbirds, right? And so there was this joy, of being a child and being in a safe environment where I was allowed to explore by myself,
Yeah.
because everything was designed to be so safe. And I remember the different all the different kinds of patios, the different gardens, the transitions between the outside of the home and the inside of the home, because I was chasing after lizards or frogs or things, right? And so that I had all this magic idea of life, and the little animals and insects that
Yeah.
fascinate a child. They were all connected to this house. And so, for example, I remember how they wash the clothes, because in Ecuador, the advent of washers and dryers for clothes is
Mhm.
pretty recent. It's only about 34 years old that people have started using washers and dryers. Before you would
Ah,
have
really?
yes, yes. So when I was a child, um, this is something that I heard repeated many, many times. People would say washers don't do as good a job as a washing lady. So
Well,
the there was
I imagine that's true.
there was a washing lady that came and washed the clothes on Saturday or Sunday, and then they would hang everything in clotheslines to dry under the sun. And so I remember what that area was like because of the ladybugs that would go stand on the sheets, when they were drying. And so all this magic of being a child and enjoying nature, just feeling that you yourself are a part of nature, that was just amazing and fascinating. And as I have gone through the different decades of my life, when I talk with people about landscaping, you cannot disconnect landscaping from early childhood. people's memories, for most people, their first memories of landscaping or gardening are maybe with a grandfather, with a grandmother, or their parents, or an aunt or an uncle. And there's usually family members, sometimes extended family, linked to this enjoyment of nature. So that's what I wanted to recreate for this book. So every chapter of the book is associated with an item that fascinated me as a child. For example, trees, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a chapter on trees, and I talk about what they did in the House of Many Gardens regarding trees, what kinds of trees they had, how they placed them in the property to create different areas that could be enjoyed under the tree. And then I talk about what Feng Shui says you should do about trees.
Yeah.
How close should a tree be to the house? Where should you place the tallest trees? Where should you not place tall trees? For example, in front of the door, right? And then I talk about what you should do. A little. I share a little bit of what my husband and I have done in the homes where we have lived regarding our landscaping, and then I give general advice to people. And here's an important thing that I want to share. I am not a gardener, um, yet my house has always been something to admire. Like in the different places that we have lived,
Yeah.
people have always stopped by our house, and people have always commented on how beautiful our yard was and how much curb appeal we had. And I do this because I'm not a gardener, so I always go for what is the easiest way to do this. So I've always researched. So if I plant flowers, what are the flowers that are going to give me the the most flowers for per season, right? And
All
so,
right.
yeah, and so I have one of the prettiest yards in my neighborhood, and I do the least work of just about everybody else because it's not. I'm not a gardener, and I have other activities. I have my business. I don't want to spend a lot of time outside, and so this book is going to help those people who are not much of a gardener like myself, have amazing yards, and it's also going to help the people who do have a love for gardening make the most out of their efforts. Because one thing
Yeah.
that I have noticed over 20 years of doing feng shui and working with clients is that the people who have a knack for gardening don't plan. That is their biggest mistake, right? They go, I like that, I like this, I like that, and they buy things based on what they love, and they
Mhm.
spend a lot of time doing gardening, right?
Yeah.
But they don't get the results they should be getting. When you do um, landscaping with feng shui, every year taking care of your garden gets easier.
I tell you what, Moni, I'm going to have to get this book because
Yeah,
I am the gardener that does not plan. And 2 years
there you
ago,
go.
2 years ago, I took everything out. I had a shed, and I took it all out, took all these bushes away, and had pretty much a complete blank canvas. There's a couple of little trees,
Yeah,
and then started planting, and thought, yeah, I like that, like that. And so then that was last year. Then this year we added some more. But when I look, there's still so many big spaces. And the trouble is, as we know, if you leave a big space, then you're going to get weeds and things that you don't want. And that was I meant, 30, 40 years too late. The best bit of advice I was given about gardening was, if you don't want to do weeding, just plant more plants, because then the weeds can't come up.
yeah.
So,
And
but yeah, no, planning would, when now you come to mention
definitely,
it, planning would be a good idea.
there's part of that planning that has to do with where you live. You have to consider the weather, you have to consider the soil.
Yeah.
But part of planning can be applied anywhere in the world, and that's what feng shui teaches you to do, right? So what you learn in the book, you're going to have to adapt to the weather conditions, the soil conditions, the wind, the sunshine that you get in the place where you live. But the general guidelines are going to be there for you to build on, right? And so, for example, I had a neighbor, right, that she bought some beautiful flowers, and then she planted some in front of those flowers. She planted some beautiful evergreen bushes. Within 6 months, the evergreen bushes grew a lot taller than the beautiful flowers behind, and you couldn't see the
Yeah.
flowers. So that's one thing that people don't think to look at what is going to be the final height of this plant.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
is, yeah. Um, for if it has flowers, how many months am I going to see the flowers? For example, azaleas are just beautiful, right? But they only flower for 1 month where I live.
Yes,
And
exactly.
so they're a really pretty green bush the rest of the year. But if you want flowers, that's not the
Yeah.
plant to get. If you want flowers year round. And so all these kinds of things you need to think about. You need to think about your landscaping as a relationship with living beings. And I'm
Mhm.
sure because you are a gardener, you have that love for gardening, you feel the company of the plants that you put in the ground, of the plants that you take care
Oh,
of. They're living beings that they're with you, much like your cats are there with you, sharing life with you. So are
yeah.
the plants.
Yeah, and you tend to them, and so like the deadheading of the flowers, so you get more flowers coming through. All those things are just, yeah, you got to keep on top of it. It's a constant evolve. But as you said earlier, but when it all comes together and it just looks so beautiful, and
Uh-huh.
like we I guarantee we've got, well, from what I can see, we have got the prettiest backyard of all the people along our road, because we're the ones that actually really love the gardening.
Yes.
And yeah, we want to spend time out there. Not always easy in the UK, being a little bit rainy, um,
Yes. Yeah.
but on those days when the sun does come out, we want to be straight out in the garden enjoying what we've done. So I
Yeah.
totally get that.
And,
But also, what you said earlier about your earlier memories
uh-huh,
of gardens and the joy of nature and everything. Again, that struck a chord with me. One of my 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 father's parents, my grandparents on my father's side,
uh-huh.
their garden, I just remember so vividly, because it had a little stream running along the side, little pond where newts were in, big bamboo kind of forest towards the back. Gorgeous. It was long and narrow, but it was absolutely, yeah, full of lovely memories. So, yeah.
Exactly. And so I want people to tap into those memories, that extreme happiness of being out in nature that you have as a child. I want you to think of that when you're creating your garden, because I want you as an adult to experience the same delight you felt as a child when you go out into your garden. And it's also a gift to neighbors. When you have a beautiful garden in front of your house, it's a
Mm,
gift to neighbors. Every time your neighbors or even strangers go by, they're going to send good vibes. They're going to send good energy, goodwill to your house, because you have given them the gift of beauty. And all those positive emotions, they charge your home positively too.
yeah. I do when we go for a walk in the summer most evenings, and it's noticeable, because and we'll go past and we'll say, "Oh wow, look at this amazing bush," and admire what people have done. And it is, I promise you, it's probably only about 25% of the houses we go past where people on the front, particularly, have done something really nice. Most people just pave it over so they can park their cars, and then it all just looks the same, and there's no love. But
Yeah, like,
some of
exactly.
them we
And
see and we go, oh wow, yeah,
you don't want the perception of the front of your home to just be a parking lot, right?
yeah, yeah,
But there's things you can do. I mean, you can have a window baskets, right? That you where you have flowers. You can have, and it's actually super recommended in Feng Shui that you have a planter on each side of your main entrance with a beautiful plant or beautiful flowers. There's a lot that you can do, even when your spaces are dominated by concrete. There's a lot of things that you can do. You can do simple things, so that you feel welcome to your home. And there's
yeah.
also, lots of things that plants do for us. Um, there's this book is called "To Speak for the Trees," which is written by an Irish woman who received the wisdom of the Celtic people, and she's
Okay,
a researcher. And so there's a lot of things that we don't know. For example, how people love walking in the forest, right? And we think of that, well, that's just because you're in nature, because you are relaxed. But actually, there's all these different plants. They release things into the air that are really good for you. So, for example, one of the things I learned from her is that when the cold season starts in the northern parts of the world, in the evergreen trees, the aerosols that evergreen trees release into the air
yeah,
are actually things that go into your body and help your lungs. you know. And if you have an herb garden at home, even if you don't use the herbs for cooking or for making teas, the aerosols that they produce, they're things that go into your body and are good for you. So that's amazing. There's even the willow tree, like
okay,
have actually found out that people who suffer from depression, if they go sit under a willow tree, they feel better because the willow tree releases these substances that
Oh
improve
wow.
the mood. There's so many magical things about the plant world that are just starting to be recognized by science, but that maybe you heard your grandparents tell you, right? Like my grandmother said, you have to talk to plants. If you don't talk to plants, they don't do as well. And
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, we have now in
plants,
England, we have King Charles, and he famously used to talk to plants,
oh
and
wow.
and the media and the papers used to call him completely mad. But yeah, 50 years along, and he's been proved right. Go talk to your plants. It's good
There's
for your health.
studies that show that plants grow faster when they listen to human voices, even
Yeah.
recordings of human voices, right? My grandmother would have been so happy to hear this, right? Because she would
But
talk.
it's just something that in the olden days people just knew. It
Yes.
made sense. And I was chatting to someone, a friend of mine, who's a therapist, and she was saying, and she's in Norway, and she was saying just getting people to just go outside and just walk around and in nature,
Hmm.
just just calms you and does amazing things
Yeah.
for your mental health and your body that you just don't realize, instead of just being cooped up in the day-to-day life,
We were
just
not
being caught up.
designed to live in boxes. We were designed to live in communion with nature. And another thing that I have included in this book that I think a lot of people are going to find interesting is some stories from the shamanic traditions of the indigenous people of Ecuador, right?
Oh, right.
So, for example, they have this belief that if you have in your garden a medicinal plant pops up, like a dandelion, for example, that means you need it. That means nature is saying, hey, you need to take this dandelion tea because it's going to be good for your liver and things like that. And they
Oh,
also
wow.
believe if you're walking through the forest and you find a healing plant, you have to pick it up and take it home and take it. And so there's all these things that we as Westerners we might laugh at from the shamanic traditions, but um, I believe most of these things are gradually going to be confirmed by science. And I had in when I was living in the House of Many Gardens, there was a family of indigenous people that came over, to help, and I learned a lot of things from them, and all those things also help me, feel a connection with nature that I don't think that I would have felt otherwise.
Yeah.
And so, for example, I told a story, beautiful story about a dog that was lost and how a little boy found it, little indigenous boy found it, because he had been told that butterflies of a particular color would lead you to good things. And this dog was lost, and the owners had looked in all the usual places where the dog might have gone. And this little boy, he was 10 years old, and he went on his bike, and he found the dog in a completely different neighborhood by following a butterfly, And
Wow.
so there's these magical stories also in the book that I think are going to help people connect to the part of life that we can't completely distinguish with our conscious mind. Not everything about the reality of life or the reality of our world, not everything is physical, not
No.
everything can be confirmed by physical means, right? Not everything has yet been confirmed by science, but there's so many things that we feel about life, and that come from more of a spiritual realm, right? And so that I got as a child, fortunately, through the contact with this indigenous family, and I have included some of the stories in these books.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And when does this book come out? You said it's on a
Well,
pre-release?
we're doing the final touches, we're doing the final proof, and it should be available for pre-order next week.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I've written previously the book Feng Shui Your Own Yard, and this
Yeah.
is a book full of instructions and illustrations, right? On exactly how to do your front yard, your backyard, your
I
side
love that.
yards, and how to create the perfect site, what kind of plants to put in the different situations, how to relate to the sun, what to do around your mailbox, how to do paths, how to do flower beds.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
but
is
this is the how, right? This new book is going to give you the why.
why. Ah, I like that. I like the story behind it. Actually, so a couple of things that spring to mind. Um, One is apart from selling your books on Amazon, live streaming on Amazon, do you also have websites and places where we can
Yes.
find and,
So
and
you
buy
can
your
go to my
learn from you?
website, 9stepstofengshui.com, but you can also get there by typing spacearrangement.com. So 9stepstofengshui, all spelled out.com, or spacearrangement.com takes you to my website. And on the menu, you're going to find a search. And so you go to the search and type books, and you'll find a page that lists all my books. And there's even some videos to show you the inside of each book. And that's how you can find them.
Cool. Sorry, man. I'm gonna type it and put it in the screen. 9 steps to
fengshui.com. But also, sometimes people don't know how to spell feng shui, so I also have spacearrangement.com, and takes you to the same page. And so the menu, if you're on the computer, you're going to see a box for search. But if you're on the phone, you're going to see the 3 lines that take you to the menu, and then you'll find the search box. And then you can look specifically for a book, or you can just type the word book, and it'll show you all the pages on my blog where I talk about my books.
Cool. I'm going to share this one on the screen, Moni. If it's not the right one, say take it down quick.
Okay.
But I think I got the right one. So, oops. Just got to switch it over. Share this one instead. That's the fella. And pull it up on the screen. I'm being able to use the amazing B.Live software to have this interview today. And it's their 8th birthday today. So, so there we go. Is it that one, Moni?
It's showing us a blue block right now. It's not showing the website.
Oh. Why can't you see that, I wonder? Let's put that over there. Can you see it now?
Yes. So scroll up. So show me the top of the page.
Yeah, yes, I can see you. So the very top of the page is you got the search bar.
Yeah. So that is not my homepage, but on any page of the site at the top right, you see the search bar. So you just type books in there.
Ooh.
No, go back. You see the search bar right on the right of the menu. Yeah. So books or book.
There we go.
On Amazon by country, and scroll down. How to feng shui your own home with books, right? And so there's a number of pages that you can explore there to look at my books.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's marvelous. Brilliant. Oh, well, okay. So I'll.
So if you go to the first one at the top, right?
I'm just going to copy that. Oops. And put that in the comments. Hopefully that'll work. So hopefully that's just dropped it in the comments on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, thank you.
So people can go directly there, which is cool. So sorry, I shall go back up.
All right. So if you go back up, right? And click on the first one. I believe it's the first one. My books on Amazon by country. Or no, how to feng shui your own home with books.
That one?
Yeah, the second one.
There we go. Loads of information.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. So yeah, we can.
And actually, I think there might be a better page. Let me find it.
Oh, there's the home page. There we go.
Yeah.
That's more like it. Cool. Oh, is that picture your home?
No, it's not my home. It's just.
But there we go. Meet the Feng Shui master.
So actually, if you would share, can I send you a link, like maybe via Messenger, so you can have it?
Yes, of course, of course.
And that would be the best link to share for books.
For sure. Okay, I got that one.
Yes. Because actually on this page, I have like thumbnails of all the books and an explanation of each book. And there's even some videos where you can see the inside of the book.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so share that tab. So I think this is the one now. Can you see that, Moni? Oops, no, because I've not put it in the stream.
Yes, that one.
That one. Cool. Let's pass both under there. So there we go. There's the one for that, and I'll put that in the comments as well, so that can go out to YouTube land.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So there's all the books, and you got the new one coming as well. That
Yeah.
you're a prolific author, Moni, I have to say.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes, and I think I've heard this from other writers. Sometimes you have so much in your head, the only way to get it out is to put it in a book. And from the beginning, when I started studying and researching Feng Shui or Feng Shui, I just got all these ideas. I had to put things in charge just to organize my mind. And the more research I did, the more I had to put together things on paper. And then I woke up one morning, like with a silent message in my head saying, "You need to write a book," and stuff. And it wouldn't go away. So that was the first book I wrote. And then I continued writing because it was too much to keep in my head, honestly. So the other day I grabbed all my books and weighed them. It was 12 and a half pounds. And
Wow.
there's like, just to show you the Feng Shui for Homes encyclopedia, right?
Oh, yes. Yep.
This one.
Wow.
So it has, I believe, almost 600 pages, right?
Wow.
And of course, that's a point that I want to make to everybody. I wrote these books because I wanted people to be able to do things by themselves as much as they could, especially because I grew up in a third world country where you didn't always have access to the people who could provide you with help, right? But for a lot of people, if you can afford it, it's just a lot easier to work with me directly than to sit down and read 600 pages and hope that you understood everything and then try and apply things, right? Plus, not everything in every book is going to apply to your home, and your home could be a little bit different. And so the books are there for your education, for your enlightenment, for your inspiration, but they're not there to encourage you to not get help, right? And so many times there's this mentality in, because I have lived in several states of the United States.
Yeah.
And every state's a little different. It's almost like its own little country. It's a different kind of mentality. So what I noticed when I lived in the Midwest was a mentality of I have to do it myself. I have to learn and do it myself, which people there told me that's kind of like the farmer mentality.
All right. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I find that can slow you down, that can hold you back, right? But for people, so definitely, if you want to enlighten your mind, if you want to learn, if you want a passion for learning, definitely get the books, and also consider getting help for your home. And there's I think everybody there's a point, like for example, I can read a book on how to design websites. Well, I used to design websites, right?
Yeah.
But when I designed websites, many years ago, I always work with a creative. So people would tell me what to put on the website. They would give me the copy. They would tell me what to do, and I would do it. Because I was a graphic artist, web designer.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to create a website that would communicate what needed to be communicated to somebody, right?
For sure.
And so I've studied about that, and I'm a lot better about that. But at some point, I have to say, hey, maybe I need to pay somebody to produce a website for me, that is an expert at doing the websites. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally.
There's this book, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's called Business Made Simple.
Oh, I'm not. Who is that by, Moni? Do we know?
I just drew a blank on his name.
No, but it's interesting. Exactly what you've just said about
Donald Miller.
Oh, have a look. But what you've just said about website design, bear in mind, I'm in digital marketing in my day job. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, technically I can build any sort of website that you want, but when I want it to look really amazing, I need to get someone else to come in and do the visuals, so I can, I can make it salesy and put everything in the right place, but to make it visually beautiful, then I get other people to do it. And we created one just recently for an artist who's actually now based in Mexico, and she's amazing. So we've created her a virtual, and she loves it. It's a virtual art gallery, so you can actually hang her art in all the so it looks like you're going in. Her art is hanging in a gallery. It's gorgeous.
That's
and
amazing.
that's all on the website. Yeah. But I couldn't have done all of that without the aid of someone else helping me put that.
So that's what I'm talking about.
I could have read how to do it, but it's
Yeah.
much better to go to someone that can do it already and then collaborate. And that's what we say. Yeah, why hang around? Go directly to you and go to the source.
Yeah, exactly, because there's degrees of things, and there's levels. And so as you start on the path to something, you're just curious, maybe you just go online, you go to my website, you read articles in my blog, you go to my YouTube channel, and you get acquainted with the type of Feng Shui you can trust, because not all sites of Feng Shui out there can be trusted. There's been so much misinformation. And so first you get curious, you go do the free things, and then you buy the books, and you enter a little bit more on that path through that forest of Feng Shui, right? And the more advanced you want to get, at some point you're going to need to take a course, or at some point you're going to need to get a consultation. So let me go back. It was Donald Miller that I was talking about. That's Donald Miller, right? So he wrote a book called Business Made Simple. And he also wrote a book called Building a Story Brand. And so in Building a Story Brand, he talks about how to create a website that really communicates to the right people what you need to communicate, right? And so that's what I was thinking about. I mean, I can read that book. He makes that book available to everybody. And then you can read the book, and you can try out and do better websites because you read the book. Obviously, before you read the book and you make a website, it's not going to be as good as after you read the book, right? But he also he has some kind of an agency where you can contact them, and they can contact you with a web designer that's going to do everything the book says to do for you, right? And so we all need to have this sense of up to what point is it doing it myself, and at what point do you need to take a course, and at what point you need that professional help, right? But the books are the beginning, right? And especially, these my last book, which is Feng Shui Room by Room, Feng Shui Secrets for a Happy Life, because that's going to motivate you to do it. And the upcoming book, The House of Many Gardens, because that's going to motivate you to work on the outside of your home.
Oh, that's fantastic. A quick topical question, and only because it's coming up. I'm thinking, okay, two things. I'm thinking, how is there a way of, or how would you measure your success if you feng shui your house? Is there a way that you will measure how effective you've been? And also, because we're coming up to Halloween and holidays and Christmas, are there any feng shui tips not to completely trash your house by having decorations in the wrong places? Maybe a falling Santa from your chimney, or
That's a very good question. Yeah. And so the first thing is the result of Feng Shui is happiness.
All right, you will.
Right. And so in Feng Shui, we have 9 life areas, and those are career and life mission, marriage and partnerships and relationships, health, family and community, wealth, prosperity, and self-worth. And then you have the center, which is associated to gratitude. You have helpful people, travel, and spirituality. Then you have children, entertainment, fun, creativity. Then you have wisdom, self-knowledge, and rest. And then you have fame, reputation, and social life. So all of these life areas, one thing that is, I think, is kind of sad in the United States is that success has become synonymous with money or having stuff. When you ask, how successful a person is, most people think, okay, how much money do they make? How many things have they bought, right? But in Feng Shui, we see success as a much more balanced thing. What good is it to get a promotion at work if it costs you your marriage?
Exactly.
Right? And so you have to have balance in all the life areas, but the general result is happiness. And so for different people, happiness is going to look like a different thing. I had a client that told me her husband would be perfect if he was more communicative. And when she started working with me, in a consultation that is called the Feng Shui Immersion Journey, where we apply the 9 steps to Feng Shui system one by one, when she got to step 6, which is about communication, she told me now we're having a deep, profound, intimate talks every evening.
Wow.
Right. And so that's a measure of success. And another one of my clients, she's an artist. She's very talented, but she hadn't produced any new work in 7 years after she did her feng shui, and especially after we reorganized her dining room. And this is the all done long distance because she's in Wales. So
Oh,
it's all done online, right? And so she started doing new work. But more important, she started painting again, but her work is more reflective of who she is. Because her
oh,
previous work was more reflective of what usually in university, when you study arts, is usually like the stages your teachers want you to explore.
yeah.
But then she started doing something that was more authentic for herself. So that is how we measure the success of feng shui, is happiness, but also the look of the home. Like these, the first person I was telling you that the husband became more communicative.
Yeah.
She also told me is the first time after living 15 years in her house, the first time she felt proud. And she felt good enough about her home that she had a pre-prom party at her house for her daughter. And all the teenagers were raving about her, how beautiful her house was. When you get praise from teenagers, you're onto something. And this other gal that I was telling you about, the artist, right? And her house is also gorgeous, gorgeous. And so the result for the person is happiness. The result in the space is the dream home.
Fantastic.
Now,
And
for
so very finally, just how do we avoid feng shui disasters when
yes,
we're decorating
during the
for
holidays, right?
Halloween or
So first,
holiday?
let me tell you the places where you must have decorations that indicate the holiday of the season.
Ah, okay.
The outside of your front door, your foyer, and your dining room. Those are the places where you must have some indication that you know what season it is, right?
Ah, okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
What you shouldn't do is do not decorate staircases or hallways. I see a lot of people, they get overly enthusiastic, and then that becomes dangerous. Then you're putting trip traps on your staircases, and
Yeah.
you're putting things on your hallways that people can hit. So safety first. So don't decorate hallways. Don't decorate um, staircases. Unless it is something that for example on the outside of a staircase railing you can
Mhm.
put things, but not on the inside.
Right. I got
And
you.
so safety first, you have to be safe. Then I think also there needs to be some sort of balance in how many decorations you put out. But what that balance means is going to be different for some people. Some people are unhappy unless the whole house is covered in decorations. And for other people, they just want a few things here and there, right? So that is up to the person. But the most important thing is that you don't keep decorations past their time. So
Ah,
after the 31st of October, all the Halloween decorations need to come down. After in the United States, because we celebrate Thanksgiving, after
of
Thanksgiving,
course, yes.
the the fall decorations need to come down, and after the middle of January, all your Christmas decorations need to come down, including the lights,
Yeah.
right? And so in feng shui, one of the principles of healing that we use in feng shui is being in tune with nature and accepting the rhythms of life. So some people say, well, I want to feel like it's Christmas year round, but it's not Christmas year round. So this attachment to
Mm.
Christmas may keep you from enjoying the spring. It may keep you from enjoying the summer, right? And so also Christmas lights, they're very pretty when they're on, but they're not pretty at all when they're off. When they're off, they're just wires, right? And so it's important to honor the seasons by taking down the decorations, and before you put them away, before you put away decorations, be honest. If something is broken, you need to throw it out or
Yeah.
recycle. parts that can be recycled. If you are tired of something, you need to donate it. If there's any ornaments that bring you bad memories, you need to let that go.
Mhm.
And the same thing applies to gifts. So another tip for families: donate your children's toys that they don't play with anymore in the middle of December, not
Ah,
after Christmas. Okay? So you make room. If you make room before Christmas for new toys, your life is going to be so much happier. And when you take those toys for donations, the family who cannot afford to buy new toys
they
are
get.
going to have a really nice choice to buy for their
Love
kids,
it.
right?
I love it.
So that's super, super important. And also, and this is one of the most important things you're ever going to hear me say regarding home organization: don't keep things in your home that you would only keep because the person who gave them to you as a gift would get mad at you. Because how in spy stories they put bugs in the house? That is
Yeah.
an energetic bug. If somebody gives you an ornament that you simply hate, but you keep it because you don't want to hurt their feelings, what does that say about you and your relationship to that person? Why can't you have an
Mhm.
honest conversation with a person and say something like, I really appreciate the fact that you wanted to give me a gift. And I think the gift is lovely, but it just doesn't go with everything else we have, right?
Yeah.
Or this is not. Would it be okay with you if I go to the store and exchange it? We need to have, good relationships are built on difficult conversations.
A little bit honest. I have to say, I'm
Yeah.
guilty of that. Years ago, my sister-in-law, bless her. Actually, she's the one person outside of my immediate family that has known me longer than anybody else, because it's my
Really?
older brother's wife. But when they were in their 20s, they bought me and my girlfriend at the time this absolutely horrible horrible china duck thing that you kept eggs in. It was just, yeah, I couldn't throw it away because it was like, what was a gift? But it was like,
And like I've actually known people, that you say this egg holder, it's in a closet, but when they're coming to visit, you run to try and find it and put it out so they're not offended, right? So
I think,
that is living a lie.
I know,
It's not good for the relationship, right?
I
And
know.
so I had one like that too. I went to Ecuador, and my adored Aunt Cecilia, my favorite aunt, she gave me a little porcelain of a ballerina that I
Ah,
would have liked when I was 8. I would not I feel like it as an adult. And so, for a long time, I put it up because I was like, oh my gosh, she gave it to me with love. So whenever I look at it, I'm going to look at the love. And
yeah,
then every time I look at it, I was like, that's tacky. So there's a solution for that. You can have one shelf in your home where you put all the bizarre and funny things that you have and the bizarre and funny things or that people have given you. So you have one place in your home where you can put those things, and you just mark it. Okay, that's my curiosity shelf, right? And then that's one way you can do it. But it's also a good practice to not be afraid to say the truth. And there's also, in some cases, speaking of in-laws, some gifts are given to a person with a bad intention. So, for example, I had a client that her mother-in-law gave her a really nice vacuum as a way to say she didn't think she cleaned enough.
oh,
Right. So she was in this conundrum because it was a
mhm,
really nice, expensive vacuum. She loved what good of a job the vacuum did,
yeah,
but it was giving her to her with bad feelings. Right. So every time she used it, she was like, um, my mother-in-law thinks I'm a dirty person, whatever. And
yeah,
so these kinds of gifts, you need to have a strategy for those too, right?
yeah. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
That's a,
it is really
yeah.
tough, especially because it was a good product.
I know, yeah. It's like,
So what do you do?
I'd have kept it. I'd have said, yeah, thanks. Thank you.
So in some cases, you can clear the object. There's things you do in Feng Shui to clear the energy from an object. And you could decorate the vacuum cleaner with things that you like,
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
Things that affirm your personality. But you have to be able to have those difficult conversations to have good relationships. And if a gift is given to you and you hate it and you don't bring it up, that is like breaking a part of the relationship.
Yeah.
That
And
relationship is no longer authentic.
yeah, and you might get another one next year. Equally,
Yes, or if
a
they think
matching
you love
one.
it, the next year they give you the matching porcelain.
Oh,
I actually had a client that her home was full of frogs. Um,
frog.
frogs. Like every Christmas, people in her family gave her frogs. So she had frogs all over the house. And I'm like, so you love frogs? And she said, no. When I was 9, my sister gave me a frog. And I loved that one, when I was 7. And I had such a wild reaction to it that from then on, people was like, she likes frogs. Let's give her frogs, you know.
Oh, fantastic. I
And
love that.
she never
Oh,
spoke up and said, don't give me frogs anymore.
that's it. The lesson is always be honest and tell people.
Be honest.
Moni, I can't believe we've been chatting for an hour. It
Oh,
just
wow.
time flies when you're talking about Feng Shui, and all your books. Absolutely amazing. You gave an absolute top tip last week about to stop cats chewing the carpet. You said
Yeah. Did
white
you apply
vinegar.
it?
Absolutely amazing.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, and the other, I was going to ask you if you had any tips. Marco, we got these two brother and sister, the cats. They're only just over a year, about 12, or rather 14 months old.
Uh-huh.
And so Marco, the little boy, he brought home his first mouse the day before yesterday.
Wow.
Like, ah. So yeah, I need to learn what to do, because he drops the mouse in the kitchen. Thank goodness, didn't take it all over the house. That was good.
Yeah.
So being a good dad, I picked up the mouse. It was still alive, so I thought, oh, I'll release it back into the wild. So it was dark. I took it down to the bottom of the garden, released it back in. 10 minutes later, the little monkey has gone out, caught it again, the same one, brought it back in. So
What we did, and so they're wild animals, right? There's
yeah,
you
I mean,
can't take their instincts out of them, and you have to praise them because they're doing a good thing, right?
yeah, he was very
So
pleased with himself.
what we did is when they brought something in, you would take it out and then close their pet door for
Yes,
20 minutes.
that's what I should
Right?
have done. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so that they can keep bringing it back. Yeah, but that's a tough part of life with cats.
It is. I'm just hoping he doesn't do it every day. But he's very funny. He was very proud of himself.
Yes, yeah, of course.
But anyway, cool. Moni, thank you so much. Is there any final before we switch off to Amazon? Is there any final little tips you want to give any viewers on?
Yes,
Your
if
top
you keep anything out of this, is I want you to know that your home is affecting you now. It is affecting you negatively or positively, but it's never neutral, right? And so you need to take on Feng Shui. You need to learn Feng Shui. You need to get a book, get a course, go to my website so you can get in touch with a consultant. And because your home affects you 100% of the time. And you should be the one that is deciding how the home affects you. And you should be the one making the home tell you good things.
Brilliant. So there you go. You've got it from the Feng Shui expert, the master of Feng Shui, the amazing Moni Castaneda. Thank you so much. You've been an amazing guest. And I'm going to have to do more of these interviews, because that way I can get you back on in about a month's time. when your books, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, when your new book is actually published, then we'll have you back on. But anyway, thank you so much, Moni, for being a brilliant guest. And thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Sai, for your comment. I don't know if you're still watching, but really appreciate your interaction on Amazon. Sai was watching on Amazon, so that was really cool. So until next time, probably this time next week, actually. I think I'll do them on a Thursday. Whatever you're doing, have a great time, and go check out Moni's books. Check out her website. It'll be amazing. Cheers.